I'm Brian Dennis, Dixon student at Davis High School, and I served in the United States Coast Guard.
Stewart Copeland, and I served in the United States Navy.
Kim Hipner, and I served in the U.S. Army.
My name is Robert Quincy, and I served in the Army.
My name is Mr. Shead, and I served in the United States Navy.
My name is Victor Corozco, and I plan to serve in the Marines.
Hi, I'm Christian Garibay, and I want to join the Army.
I served in 1979 to 1983, and served in California, Oregon, and Alaska.
From 87 to 94, I was on active duty and also spent time in the National Guard. Most of my time, I was lucky I spent my entire time in the States, most of the time in between Missouri and Utah, and I ended up in Fort Lewis and Tacoma.
Started in 1974, and when I got off of reserve duty was 1991. 4 years of school at the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. A little over 3 years in San Diego, another year and a half in Tacoma, Washington, and then also Tacoma and Seattle when I was in the reserves.
I was in 6 years. I joined in 1986 and got out in 1992 when I came here and was hired in the police department. Stationed in Germany, so it was Würzburg, Germany.
I served in the Persian Gulf. I was in the Persian Gulf War. I did a total of 11 years, and out of those 11 years, I went to the Persian Gulf 3 times. And actually, it was time for me to go again when 9/11 broke out, and that's when I got out. I was doing reserve time then.
I want to serve because I want to build self-confidence. I want to get stronger mentally and physically.
My grandfather was in the Marines. One of my uncles was in the Marines, so I just said, why not?
I was nearly finished with college, and I had an enormous amount of student loans, and I started thinking about how I'm going to manage that on a teacher's salary, and started talking to my family members and figured out there was a tradition in our family. I knew my dad was in the Navy, but I started hearing these stories of grandparents and grandfathers and uncles, and really pushed me toward the tradition piece, but also I had to do it for college education reasons.
I grew up in a small town in South Dakota, and so I wanted to join the military and see the world. That was the big push back then. Patriotic, came from stout Republicans, so it was, serve your country. My mom was sad about it because she didn't think women needed to be in the military. But I loved my entire time in there. So, and I was stationed, I went to Fort McClellan, Alabama for my training. It was 95 Bravo at that time, military police, and then was stationed with my entire unit over in Würzburg, Germany.
I was always a good swimmer and stuff. I thought the Coast Guard would be good as far as swimming and be able to get out, in the water, a chance maybe to save people in the water. Also a chance to serve my country, chance to see the world, to get around at a young age, you get more of an education.
Well, it's kind of a family thing. My father had been in the Navy, my uncle had been in the Navy. But primarily, I guess the biggest reason was that we were in the Cold War at the time, and the country was looking for people to step up and volunteer, and so I did.
I joined to serve my country. I'm very patriotic.
Got a chance to see what the military was about, appreciate the people that are out, fighting for you, doing the right thing out there. Especially the Coast Guard's a little different than some of the other services because it's more sort of a civilian oriented, where you're doing like a lot of law enforcement.
The phrase the military uses is always called attention to detail. Everything from uniform to operations to weapon systems, it's always attention to detail. And I was not an attention to detail person before entering the military, and I definitely am now. It's really helped me in my career, and it's helped me just keeping organization, keeping things where I need to be.
Just the basic training alone, and not that you put on a resume. I did a 12-mile road march, but when you completed that, you did so many things that you were proud of yourself for. Like, oh my gosh, I accomplished this. I've done this, or now I've been to this many different countries, and these shoes are from Italy, and this jacket is from Spain, and I took a vacation, an overnight trip to Paris, and it was amazing. Things that people just read about in books, I was actually living, so that was pretty great.
I had opportunities that the average person doesn't get. Most people don't have the opportunity to navigate a ship at sea, and great travel opportunities. Slogan used to be, join the Navy and see the world, and it certainly worked for me.
I gained self-discipline, a hard work ethic, and dedication. And I think those three things the military teaches young men, especially to be dedicated.
The military is not for everyone, but it's definitely an option. And I think a lot of people take that option. Other ones kind of discount it without experiencing or thinking or talking to others about all the careers that are in the military. We happen to live in an area where college is attainable for most of our students, but a lot of them say, I can't afford it, so I'm not going to even think about college. And the military is one avenue where you can still, you'll need to sacrifice some of your time of your life and go do things you may not want to, but it's definitely an avenue. You can still attend college, even if you don't have any money in your family.
See, in 1981, I was involved in the Coast Guard rescue out in Alaska. It was a luxury liner called the Prince and Dom, caught on fire. Had 532 passengers on board with about 35 to 40 foot seas, and we ended up saving every passenger without a casualty. So it's one of the biggest Coast Guard rescues ever.
One of my favorite stories is we was set up out here in the Yakima Training Center. Actually, we went up to set up for about 20,000 rounds of 50 cal machine gun ammo, and the company to come out there to fire it didn't show up. So there was 3 guys, me and 2 other gentlemen, and we're sitting there with a huge amount of ammo, and once you break open the cans, you have to shoot it. Military is, if you don't shoot it, you have to come back and hand count them individually. And I was not going to count 10 to 20,000 rounds individually. So we just sat out there for about 4 hours and just shot 50 cal machine guns, just had a great time, and that was my favorite memories of my time in the military.
Funniest one was a time in the Indian Ocean. We were supposed to keep track of bioluminescence in the water, and most pools of bioluminescence would just float down the side of the ship because they weren't moving anywhere. But this one midnight watch that I had, this pool of bioluminescence on our starboard bow was headed straight for us. Captain came up the ridge, took a look at it, made a course change. The bioluminescent pool made a course change. Finally, it got close to us and spouted. It turned out it was a whale that was stirring up the little bioluminescent creatures as it moved along, and it was headed for the sound of our sonar. But it was a pretty strange thing at like 2 in the morning.
Veterans Day to me, it means, for a chance to really thank the people that are out fighting for your country, that are sacrificing their lives, to make this country what it is today.
Veterans Day is a day set aside where we can honor those who gave all so that we could have the rights that we have now. And I think there's so many people that take for granted that we can come and go as we please. We can have whatever job we want. We can choose the lifestyle we want to lead. We can say what we want. We can practice our religion how we want. And it's all based on our military who have defended those rights so that we could do that.
Veterans Day to me is a time of remembrance for those that served and actually didn't make it back. And I think we should sort of give thanks and be thankful to those that did serve and that are still alive.
I think it's just a day to honor other people that have served before us.
Veterans Day is to honor all the soldiers that served, that helped us keep this country strong, and all the people that fought to keep it free.
We always kind of look back at the vets from World War II and people who served like myself without combat experience. We kind of always look back. Right now, there's a couple 100,000 people getting out of the military, and that's really what it is, to honor their sacrifice. It's kind of the look currently and then the look forward.
I think it's a time to stop and remember that we didn't gain this country nor keep our freedom without sacrifices of a great many people over the years. Millions of people over the years.